Hey Void, how you doing? So, my backlog's getting worse than I expected, mostly because I happened across some movies that I was meaning to review, but for some reason just didn't note down that they needed to be reviewed, and they kind of fell through the cracks. So I'm going to be playing catch up for a while here, on top of the movies that I'm currently watching. So, away we go. Let's see about how many of these I can do over the course of the next couple days. Hopefully to make this backlog shrink down a little bit, since I'm in the process of moving. And keeping everything organized during this is difficult, particularly since my reviews are already scattershot as is. So, Shutter Quest. The next one on that one is Last One's Out. So, not really making the Forgotten backlog better, but I'm at least getting this one out of the way. Last One's Out. It's a run-of-the-mill zombie film. It tries to do some different things, and it's passable at what it does, but there's nothing that really strongly sets it apart for me. The beginning starts off strong, don't get me wrong, but they solve one of the things that would have made this more tense pretty quickly, and that kind of detracts from that a little bit. So, Last One's Out. Another neat part, it's set in South Africa, and they often are using a local tongue for that, which is cool. I don't want to start quoting which language it is because I honestly am not sure off the top of my head. If 30-second double check tells me anything. This just tells me language spoken English. Thanks. Okay, well, it's was actually filmed around Cape Town, South Africa. So, it is actually at least filmed on location. Now, this one, it follows an American who is in South Africa for surgery. It seems like he followed his fiance down to South Africa for one reason or another, and then he just needed to go in for an appendectomy. Well, he wakes up and he still has his appendix in. After being reassured that there's just been some strange delays, just because of an emergency, it'll be fine. And he gets brought into the operating room, and then when he wakes up later, he still has his appendix in, and the whole hospital looks completely torn apart. So, he is now in the middle of a zombie outbreak in South Africa, with in a hospital that's now largely abandoned, with still in need of an appendectomy. So, like I said, it's a strong start. Problem is he is doing the ugly American thing a lot of the time and is not a very likable person. However, he is surrounded by other cast that is likable, which does help lead him towards a redemption arc. They were trying to make him deliberately unlikable so he could realize his things, and they do decently at that. The movie does what it does very well. I will say the other characters around him are definitely stronger and more interesting, particularly Sunette, but Siseko also is quite strong as well. So that's okay. That's a decent beginning, but it kind of becomes more standard zombie fare as it goes along. Particularly since the appendectomy thing that he still needs to get surgery for, they do solve within the first half hour of the film. So yeah, since they are doctors, they just pull him aside and operate on him just at the beginning of the escape. So they solve that pretty quick, rather than having him being a ticking time bomb throughout the movie, which could have added some tension. But alas. Um, but I suppose the movie is very short. It's only like an hour and 15 minutes, so it doesn't go on for very long. The gore effects are okay, nothing to write home about. This movie, I don't think, had the strongest of budgets. But there's a few scenes that are legitimately tense, and the characters are likable, but nothing otherwise makes this one stand out other than, hey, it's in South Africa, which is cool. But you gotta do something more with that. So I'll give Last One's Out 5 MacGuffins. It's average, right up the middle. It's worth seeing once. Take it or leave it. But if you're like me, who's burned out on zombies, this one's not going to win you back over. I mean, the one I watched recently, Dead Shack, was at least doing something a little bit more interesting, almost doing a Dead Alive thing. Or Brain Dead. But, you know. I don't even remember what I gave that one, but because of the character's stupid decisions, I think I only gave that one a 4. Memory serves right. I don't even remember what I give rate things sometimes. But this one, I'll give Last Ones out of 5. Alright. Catch you soon, Void.